Hello and welcome to GadgetGuideUSA. Thanks for watching my Doogee P1 smart projector product review. As you can see here, we've got it started kind of in the dark, and we're going to go ahead and give you an estimation of the display capabilities. I have a mouse plugged into the USB port, but we'll go more into the options as we progress. So I have this movie, Costa Rica, in 4K at 60 frames per second. Of course, I'm not displaying in 4K. The resolution you're watching, I'd like to say it's 720p, but I'm not really sure. The resolution of the Doogee P1 is listed as 854 by 480 with a maximum resolution of 1280 by 720. So I'm not really sure what display it's actually going in. You know, you really can't tell by eye, but I am going to say, if this is an 854 by 480, it's the best 854 by 480 I've ever seen. It's very sharp, it's very crisp. With the only downside of the projector being it only displays in 70 lumens, which isn't very bright, so you really need a really dark room to enjoy all the projector quality. The music you're hearing comes over out of the internal speaker that's hooked onto the Doogee P1. For the size, the Doogee, it's only 62 millimeters, you know, it's a perfect cube, and we'll get more into the actual shape and size of it during the second part of the product review, where I actually show you the product and what it came with. But the internal speaker I would definitely describe as adequate. However, it's equipped with, it does have a USB port, and it also connects to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So what I'm going to recommend is that you use a Bluetooth speaker if you want really loud volume, and definitely one of the things you definitely need is a device to control it. The Doogee does not include that, but if you have a, you know, it has a USB port, so you can plug in a mouse or keyboard, use a USB port, but I would recommend using a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse to keep that USB port open for data transfer and whatever you need to. Essentially, the Doogee P1 runs, it's self-standing Android, and it runs Android 4.4, which is KitKat. So if you're huge into the newest version of Android, this isn't the device, but at the same time you shouldn't see any negative influence of the Android 4.4. It's done everything I wanted to, including run KODI and all the video applications I want. Some of the things is this was shipped to me directly from China, so you're going to notice that it doesn't have a lot of the trappings that that a standard Android device would have. It doesn't come with all that bloatware. So when you go with the apps, these are the apps that actually came with it. That didn't. I actually installed this app only. But you'll notice that since it came from China, there's no Google Play Store. Actually, there is the Google Play Store. I installed the Google Play Store. In addition, there's no internet browser. So if you would like the Play Store and browser and you order this from China, you're going to have to actually install it yourself. Not a big deal for me. I'm a techie. I actually have it on a USB drive ready to go, but not everybody does. Another thing is it came with this HappyCast app, which just didn't work very well for either Android or iOS. I'm going to recommend you use Miracast or some type of other screencasting applications. There's a ton of free ones, and basically what that is for is so you can display whatever is happening, or it's so you can display what's happening on the projector on something else, or display what's happening on your phone on the projector, which is really convenient. That way, if you had a presentation or you wanted to watch a movie, the movie's on your phone, you just basically sync up with the cube and continue on. You can actually broadcast a movie over the cube. I'm not going to go into that. I just wanted to display the video qualities. But we will talk more about that during the second part of the review. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue this where we left off, or at least try to here. And I just want to show you, you know, the sharpness of the screen. And it does look really great. I would guess this isn't 720p, but like I said, I'm not really sure and I have no way of telling. Android says this is 720p, but you know, I really can't use just a number in a device. But at the end of the day, the screen is very sharp, and I'm going to let you judge for yourself. I'm going to let this run for a couple more minutes, and then we're going to go on to the next part of the product review. At the very end of this video, I'm actually going to include quite a bit more live video, so go ahead and finish the product review, and at the very end there will be some more video for you. And we're back. This is exactly how the Doogee P1 was shipped to me. Of course, you know I've already opened it as you've seen it. Some of the stuff, it tells you the DLP from Texas Instruments, life starts from SmartCube Doogee P1. And basically, you know, it doesn't give a lot of information on the box, but it gives you kind of a, you know, what you need. There's nothing really inside. This is what I found inside. Keep in mind that I ordered this, or actually this was sent to me directly from China. So it doesn't have an American plug. Even though I have an adapter, I plug it right in. It works fine. You will notice that this works on both 50 and 60 hertz. Most likely if you order this from like an Amazon store from the United States, it'll come with an American plug. But since mine came from China, of course it didn't. It still works and everything. I just figured I'd point that out. Most likely it would be the exact same except with an American plug. I don't know, they may ship it with an adapter, I'm not sure. But since it accepts 60 hertz, you don't need a converter. You only need a physical adapter to plug it in. Like I said, I'm not really sure. Of course, it comes with a USB cord. It was nicely wrapped before I opened it up and used it. And this USB cord actually has dual use. Once you bust out the Doogee Smart Cube, which we're going to go ahead and just set that over there now. Once you actually get the Doogee Smart Cube out, the first thing you'll notice, it's very small. It's 66 millimeters cubed. Literally 66 millimeters in every direction, so it's extremely tiny, and it's very impressive as far as, you know, what it gets done with its size. This cord, of course, is to charge the device. Of course, you plug that into the USB port, and it has a micro USB port for charging. But another neat use is that it can actually be used as a battery pack for a phone. So if you plug this in there and plug that into the other end, it'll charge. However, if you use this USB port, and it has a single USB port, and plug that into your phone, then you can actually plug this in and use it to charge your phone. It has a 4800 milliamp hour battery, which is actually extremely impressive for a projector of this size. So it'll actually charge a phone to full and still have power left over to be, you know, to project things. So of course you saw the live demonstration, so you've seen the resolution for yourself. I personally couldn't tell whether it was 854 or 480 or if it was an upgrade to 1280 by 720, which is 720p. But either way, it looks very sharp. You know, compared to the other projectors I reviewed, the edges didn't blur during motion scenes and things like that, and just overall I was very impressed. The only downside to the projection is the fact that it only projects in 70 lumens, and you do need a relatively dark room to see those wonderful colors. It was shipped to me. As you can see, there's no method of control in the box. There's no mouse, keyboard, or anything like that. But it does have Bluetooth 4.0, and it also has a single USB port. So when you saw me on the video, I plugged in a wireless mouse and keyboard to this and was using that. However, I'm going to recommend you get a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard or an Air mouse that's Bluetooth to control the device. It makes it a lot easier. So you can actually use your phone to control it. It's called the Doogee P1 Smart Remote. It's pretty simple. It's just an up and down key, and but you have to essentially have a keyboard and mouse to hook up your phone in order to get all the information there. So it's pretty easy, but at the same time your first setup may be a little bit complicated if you don't have a you know, something sitting around ready to go. It should be noted as something that I did not bring up in the when doing the actual view. We're just going to go here, and you can see it'll project to anywhere. Essentially, the video you saw right there, the screen was 72 inches across, and I was about 110 or 120 inches away from the cube, so that'll give you an idea of the display range. But we're going to go ahead and go through there, and there's this menu that I didn't show you that's definitely important. Of course, it's giving you a poor viewing here because the room is light and it's not great. But if you double click the power button, which only has one button, hold it for 3 seconds to turn it off, hold it for 10 seconds to turn it on. If you double click this power button at any time, it'll give you a special display menu, which gives you a QR code that you can scan with your phone to connect with the device. And it gives you instructions there. It also gives you some, if I'm going to blow that up so you can see it here, it gives you the name of the device and also the Wi-Fi password. So you can just get to that menu by double clicking the power button at any time, and you can get out of the menu by double clicking the menu at any time. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn it off. I just wanted to point that out. And that QR code was easily scannable even when the screen was 100 inches across, and the screen still looked good. Due to the limits of my studio, I couldn't get it up to max size. I mean, and you do, when you get it up to bigger, beyond 60, 70 inches, you do notice, you do notice more pixelation, but at the same time, you're blowing up a cube of 62 millimeters into a 100-inch display, and it still looks pretty good. I mean, definitely the edges are very sharp and very enjoyable. This retails for around $250 on Amazon. You can find it at other places for different prices, of course. But just to throw that out there, I mean, it has a lot of advantages. I mean, some of the disadvantages are only a single USB port, but you can make that up for having the Bluetooth mouse and keyboard or using an Air mouse. Another thing to note is this was shipped to me with Android 4.4. It was shipped from China, so there's some downsides to getting something from China. I buy all my phones from China, so they don't include all the bloatware. But when you buy a device from China, it's not going to have the Google Play Store, it's not going to have an internet browser, and it's not going to have a lot of the American-only apps. Fortunately, they're all free at the Google Play Store. Just what you need to do is use a USB stick, use your computer, go to the Android Play Store, sign in, and then download the Google Play Store.apk and download Miracast.apk and things like that. Just plug it right in, make sure it's set to install unsigned applications, and just go. So that may be a little bit irritating to people who aren't that tech savvy. Me, I actually had all those programs ready to go on a USB drive that plugged right in, so it took me like 5 seconds. So it really wasn't that big a deal to me, but some of you may, if it's your first time installing from APK, there may be a few complications, but 5 minutes, a little patience in Google, you'll get it done just like that. It's not hard at all. It includes, for screencasting, basically what you can do is anything that you display on your phone screen can be used to actually display over the projector cube. They recommend an app called HappyCast, which is available on the Baidu App Store. That's not an app I'm going to recommend. It doesn't work very well, and you only can get it from Baidu. And on top of that, it's just to download updates. You have to download updates from China, and it's just slow. So I'm going to recommend you use Miracast, or actually any screencasting app you like. There's at least a dozen of them free on the Android Play Store or Google Play Store. So I would just recommend getting Miracast and installing Miracast on your phone, and that'll go really easily. So in the end of the day, I mean, this is a really solid projector. It's in a really small package. Probably not the greatest for a business presentation, just simply because you have to have the room so dark, but it could definitely, in a pinch, it would work. And it's definitely small and easy to carry. You can use it as a charging device and all that good stuff. So, overall, I'm really happy about this. It's not going to replace my traditional projector, but my traditional projector also costs around $400 because my traditional projector displays in 1080p. It's a lot brighter, but it's also the size of a large DVD player. So I mean, as far as convenience, I can actually stick this in my backpack and not have to worry about anything, and it'll do pretty much everything I need it to do, and I'll be very happy. So at the end of the day, the pros are the projection quality is fantastic in low light conditions. It has Bluetooth 4.0, so you can hook up a speaker, an Air mouse, a keyboard, mouse, even a Bluetooth gamepad, so you can play Android games. So you can play Angry Birds or whatever using your gamepad. You can get an Air mouse, which you can play a lot of the games with, but at the end of the day, in order to have full access to all the Android games available, you're going to want a gamepad. But of course, that depends on if you're wanting to game with it, which I actually gamed quite a bit with it. It was rather neat to be able to set this box down, grab my pad, and actually just bring it to a friend's house and start projecting, Angry Birds on the wall. So that's actually a really neat feature. It doesn't actually require an internet connection to work, but it has Wi-Fi built in. So not only can you use your phone to connect the Wi-Fi to this can connect to your Wi-Fi as well. So it's essentially a Wi-Fi repeater if you want to use it as so, which is also an additional handy feature. It runs Android 4.4. There's not a whole lot of sellers on Amazon, and the only seller I know of on Amazon was based in China. So the shipping time to get here is quite slow, but I would recommend if you find an American seller for the Smart Cube, then go ahead and pick it up there, just because I don't like waiting 3 weeks for shipping. It's extremely small, which is very impressive. Like I said, 62 millimeters cubed, so that's a very impressive size, and it has a very impressive projection for that size. You can access the Google Play Store for games and all that, which is great. However, you have to install the Google Play app from an APK because it does not come on it. And it actually starts up very fast. So you saw how fast it started before, which is pretty impressive for an Android device. The downsides, some of the things that I didn't doesn't necessarily like about it. Of course, the major downside is the requirement of low light. Since it only has a 70 lumens thing, or 70 lumens projection, then you kind of got to get it in the dark, which is, I'm going to say, is the biggest con, but I prefer to watch movies in the dark. It just really comes down to your preference. I just wanted to point that out, that in low light, it's fantastic. Once you get bright lights on, of course, you know, it kind of washes out the projection. Also, you need to manually download the Google Play Store and internet browser. But if you buy it from Amazon, you may not have to. I'm not really sure. You could easily flash those programs right onto the browser. However, since I got it from China, of course, they didn't do that, but I figured that would point it out. If it comes with the HappyCast app, I'm going to say the HappyCast app is garbage, but at the same time, there's free apps to replace it. So I'm just going to recommend go out and get a free app. The downside is that it really, you have to have another device to control it. You can use your phone and all that, but at the end of the day, a wireless or a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard is going to be much better than using the Doogee P1 remote app, which does work, but there's a little bit of delay. When you press up, I would say there's like a 1/4 of a second delay between it actually going up. So if that doesn't bother you at all, then I would suggest just using the Doogee remote. But if you're a gadget freak like I am and you demand immediate response, go ahead and pick up an Air mouse, and there's no latency whatsoever. And one of the downsides is that it runs Android 4.4, which is the older version. So if you're a huge freak into getting the newest version of Android, then this box isn't for you. But to be honest, I was able to run everything I needed to with this box. KODI, XBMC, Amazon Prime, or not Amazon Prime, Netflix and all that. So it was for a viewing device and for a pocket projector, it's great. If you want to bring it to a friend's house for a barbecue, it's obviously easy to carry. It's not very comfortable in your pocket, but it fits fine. Overall, I'm definitely giving a thumbs up to this. I'm very happy I have it. It's not going to be my main projector, but it's probably going to be my #1 travel projector to, like, say, bring to a friend's house or a barbecue I didn't host. I do hope you enjoyed my product review today. Comments are always welcome at the bottom of the page. Subscriptions are always appreciated. Thank you. And if you have any specific questions, comments, or suggestions, please email me at GadgetGuideUSA@gmail.com. Thank you for your time.